Obviously, we're excited to play, and they've worked very hard to get into the season. As I tried to remind them, this is actually our 8th game together, not maybe all together yet because of what Hunter didn't do, but we want to continue to build on it. We want to play like we've played together some, and I thought the unselfishness showed. I thought we made improvements from Monday night to tonight, especially with our defense. Now, there were times we gave up too much off the dribble. And we have to learn how to play the scouting report defense a little bit better and take certain things away in that area. But I thought the ball movement, I thought the body movement, I thought our transition defense and offense were very solid. I thought we got through the paint. But again, the ball movement. And there's so much room for growth, you know, when you look at it as a coach, to understand our spacing and things of that nature, and even where more cuts can be. But they are really looking to move the ball. And the challenge at halftime was to get better in the game. And if we're going to build and be a good team, then we can't take steps back in the game. And it's not about not playing the score. Well, we already know what the score is. We want to play better. And I thought we shot the ball better from the foul line, obviously, in the second half than what we did in the first. We only had, I think, in the first 15 minutes, when 2 turnovers? Yeah, that was much improved. Because we need to learn that even a couple of our turnovers, a couple sloppy plays, but the back tips, we're going to see that from people like SMU. We're going to see that from Pittsburgh. We're going to see that from Louisville. So the game is always giving you something, and it's always teaching you something for another game. And to me, the big thing for us was to be able to get the ball advanced, which we did a better job of in the second half, really throwing it ahead, continuing to use more of the court. And with some, very good, I should say, I'm not going to say outstanding, but some very good individual performances. Jeremiah was not cleared until today, and it was great to get him out there. And certainly he's not all the way back. His conditioning is not even close, because he's pretty much been full court as much tonight as he has been since he's been back this week. But it was good, and the doctors had cleared him to go, so it was good to get him out there for that. Did not go into the game thinking that Max Holzer would play the point guard at any point, but he didn't do a bad job. We've done that a couple of times in practice. He loves it. I mean, this is, like I said, this is Indiana where dreams come true. I mean, you get to Max Holzer, 6'8" point, and he did a good job. He did a nice job, and he's got a scorer's mindset, but he did a good job of trying to make plays and being put into a situation that we don't spend a lot of practice time on. I thought our freshman guards did a very good job of getting better inside of the game. And Rob has had a very good week and just continues to improve. His defense continues to be even more tenacious, because certainly we saw that in him when we were recruiting him, and saw his ability for that. I'm excited that he got to play in front of not only his family, but his coach, who's in the back, Ryan Marable. He got to see a product of his work, because you recruit not only good teams, you want to recruit great programs, and you want to recruit from places that really know how to coach. And we were fortunate with that. We were very, very fortunate with that, with a guy like Rob and James and Max and Tim Priller. Those guys, they've been coached. So it helps us to shrink their learning curve a little bit. But all in all, we improved in the game. We had our largest lead with just under 2 minutes to go. And I thought for the most part our guys didn't play the score. They played to improve. And guys came in even at that 5-minute mark and tried to do the right things. And I'm excited about that. Something for us to build on.
Okay. First question, Justin.
You talked about Max and the scoring, but he had 9 rebounds too. I mean, how much, since you guys have gotten him, how much better has he gotten in that area, just going to the boards, and how good can he be in that area?
Well, we felt he could be a good rebounder, and we felt he could move well without the ball when we recruited him. Certainly his shooting gets your attention, but he's got some athleticism. I mean, if you could see the play he got hurt on in practice when he went to just absolutely rear it back and try to dunk on Hunter, you see his athleticism. And he's just going to get better and better. He's right in there with Rob and James and how hard they work. We have walked through today, and we're working some of the other guys out when we're done. And there goes Rob and James and Max right to ball handling drills. That's the legacy that a Victor Oladipo leaves in the program. And those guys really want to get better. And what I like about all of them, and in this case with Max, He's a little loose and carefree. He's a fun young man, but at the same time, he's very, very serious about getting better. And he knows to play on this team because they're looking around, and they know there's some guys that aren't out there right now that could be out there when they get back, or will be out there when they get back. And rebounding is going to be a key component for who's going to play extended minutes on this team.
Terry?
Coach, can you talk about the contribution you got from Hunter tonight, both ends?
Well, the biggest thing about Hunter is just his consistent work ethic in practice. And there's times that he looks better than others, but there's really not been times that he's not up to par. He's definitely improving. And I think you can see it in his footwork. He's had a very good off season. We just want to keep it on truly day by day with him, because that's what it's been, and that's what it wasn't before. So that's where the difference has been. He was not a day by day player. All right, he was a day-to-day player, and now he's day by day, and that's what we want to continue to build on, and then stretch his game as we go forth. But his footwork is good. His confidence is growing. He's got to get even better at rebounding the ball and getting it outletted. He's got to get used to getting boards, and let's get the break going. We're asking him to do a lot without a lot of substitution right now, so there's a little bit of pace in himself. We want to get him out of that. There's definitely a list of things he can do in a short period of time to get better, but the most important thing for him is that he just stays consistent with his work ethic and his effort.
Zach?
You talked a little bit about, I guess, some of the turnovers. How much with a team like this that can be efficient, that can space the floor, do you feel like, because it's still young, at the same time you need to talk them through some of those things, and how much do you maybe let them just sort of work those kinks out again, because this is a team that maybe can figure some of that out?
It's both. I mean, it's both. We don't want to be risk adverse. I mean, we don't. If we're going to run, and we're not even running close to what we're going to be able to run. And that doesn't have anything to do with the points. We're not even close to how fast we need to become to get up the court. With our outlets, with the first push, with seeing both sides, with running to the corner, with getting down the middle. We haven't had really an over-the-top basket yet. Those things will come. Those things will come for us, and there may be some turnovers with that. The key is, can they improve? And I thought the second half is where we got better. And again, to go 15 minutes, believe, right, JD? 15 minutes and only have 2 turnovers inside of that was improvement. So if you're going to play fast and if you're going to try to have a lot of possessions, there's going to be some that you wish you'd have back. But the best thing is when you're moving the ball and you're moving bodies and you play with unselfishness, you have a chance to knock those down. But give them credit. They were aggressive. And we haven't quite grasped how important it is to get the ball out in front yet. In fact, James was trying to bust it out in front and had a turnover in that. So we're learning. And James and Rob are being asked to do a lot, and they're capable of that. So with that will come more growth, just like it does for everybody else on the team.
Alex?
How much does Ryan Burton give you, kind of spelling Hunter and being in the front court there?
Well, that's tonight. What we saw from him is really what we would expect from him. And our challenge to him has been to be more physical and play with more confidence and create the first contact. And you saw tonight he moves without the ball, and he didn't play tentative tonight. We want him to play confident, but he's got to be. He's not going to gain 25, 30 pounds over the next couple of weeks, but he can get lower. He can play with better technique. He can, like I said, make that first hit, give the first contact. But he can stretch the floor. I think that first shot did wonders for him, knocking that down, because he's definitely a good shooter. And there's another guy. He's been very well coached by Scott Davenport. He was very well coached in high school, and he's a 3.96 student. I mean, he's got a lot going in the Kelly School, and he's got a lot going for him. And we'd love for him to help us in games and not only in practice.
Okay, Pete?
Tom, Tim Triller has become sort of like the rock star. I don't know how much he's going to play, but every time he goes in, there's a jolt from the crowd. What are you looking for from him, and do you get a kick out of it?
Well, I think the biggest thing to me is that Tim knows who he is right now, but at the same time, Tim doesn't have any clue how good he can be. And it's not all of a sudden that he's going to become a windmill dunker, and we're not going to be throwing a lot of alley-oops to him and things of that nature. But he's a position player. He's very, very conscientious. He doesn't want to make mistakes, but he's gaining activity. He's light on his feet, And he's got to sprint a little bit better. He's got to run into the boards a little more. But he wants to learn. He's very hungry to learn. And I think there's going to be a night he's going to knock down a couple of threes and get hot. And that's one of the reasons that we recruited him. He was a 52% three-point shooter in high school. But he's got to be a position player. He's got to be a guy that can position himself for boards and be active with his hands. And that to me is really, really important moving forward for him. So that the crowd likes him, I think that's nice, you know. But, you know, I see him sometimes, and I reminisce of being a child watching Scooby-Doo and seeing Shaggy, you know, and especially when he grows that little 3-day beard of his. But other times I see a guy that can get better, and his teammates love him. I mean, his teammates love him, and because he really wants to be good, he really wants to work at it, and he wants to do the right thing. So I'm excited for his growth.
Rick?
Blackman was sort of characterized as the best shooter freshman in the country coming in this year, and yet first exhibition game, I think he had 10 free throws. He had 9 more tonight. Is he developed that part of his game in terms of he's not just settling for perimeter stuff?
Well, it's both, but we still want him. He passed up an opportunity for an open three in the second half to take one off the dribble. He's almost as good off the dribble three as he is off the catch and shoot three, which is very unique. I mean, he's just an excellent shooter. But he's going to get better because he's going, and we saw some improvements tonight in the sense of putting the ball out in front, dropping his shoulder. He's got to use the glass better. You know, sometimes he floats the ball up rather than shoot the ball. And to me, he's very, very conscientious about being an all-around player. He takes defense very personally. He's really working at that to get better with his footwork. And a lot of it's not athleticism, it's footwork. It's just getting the details of his feet down and understanding how to play people. But we don't want him to get away from knocking down threes. But at the same time, as he gets more explosive with pushing the dribble out and dropping that shoulder, and his strength, he's gained a lot of strength in a year. I mean, a lot of strength. So his body's still growing into that. His game's still growing into that, so to speak. So I think he'll continue to improve, and he's very hungry. And that's the bottom line. When you got a guy like that wants to be great, that's very serious about his work, that doesn't take himself serious. He's confident, but he doesn't take himself serious that he's all this or he's all that. He's got a tremendous work ethic. Rob's the same way. I mean, those two spend a lot of time in that gym. And that they're not just in there playing horse. I mean, they're in there getting after it and working on their game. And when you have that, they're going to continue to improve. I thought Rob's improvement in a week, just with his head up in the game, playing with his eyes up, has been big. You know, because we knew it's going to come, and now it's going to continue to come against better opponents. We know that, but he's seeing the benefits of playing with that head up and what can happen and how he can find people and at the same time get to the rim. So they're growing into their games, and I think they'll continue to do that.
Okay. One more question, Sam?
Coach, can you talk about just the efficiency of the offense through the street where in 14 minutes went by, you only missed 3 shots?
Yeah, I haven't looked that far ahead into it.
Is that just a sign of what this offense can do?
Well, I hope so. I mean, we shot it well tonight. We got open looks, and I'm not as it's way too early to start. You know, I'm into defensive rebounding percentage numbers and those kind of things. I'm not as into the offensive efficiency and things like that because we're still learning how to play. I'm more into what's our spacing like. You know, are we reading our cuts? What's our footwork like when we switch and our defense? So offensive efficiency will come. Are we going to have a chance to score points? Absolutely. But we've got to continue to understand how they come. We've got to get more second chance points. And we haven't even begun to put any pressures in yet where we're getting up into the full court and trying to create even more turnovers. We got outscored on turnovers tonight. So the offensive efficiency will come. The more layups you get, the less turnovers you have, the better that efficiency gets. And we've got a ways to go to get there.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Coach.